Welcome back to another episode of Tay Talk Positive. This is your girl Tay, ready to help you get your week started with some positive vibes and good energy. Now, I know it's been a while since my last episode, but you know how life in summertime goes. I took the time off to relax and have some quality family time. The three of us, Shamira, Yasser, my daughter and fiance, just took our first plane ride. Yes, our first plane ride. We took the first of what I hope to be many more family vacations and went to Orlando, Florida. We was able to check out Universal Studios, Island of Adventure, Icon Park, and there was another place called Desertland that we checked out. Had so much stuff to do in there. I mean, like go kart and bowling, car museum, um, indoor glow in the dark golf. We was able to go see Madame Toussaint's museum over at Icon Park. We did the Museum of Illusions. We had an all around great time while we was there. That and of course other life situations had me busy and I just needed some time to mentally regroup before I came back to y'all with another episode. I know the last time we were here, I was able to get Shamir to sit down and talk with us. And I did want to bring her back to join in on this week's discussion to talk about how we met. But unfortunately, our work schedules aren't allowing for too much time for both of us to sit down and do it together. Plus, y'all know I had to pull some teeth last time, and she does act shy when it comes to sitting down to help me and join in on recording. So, you guys just get me this week. Now, I know what you're thinking. How is knowing how the both of us met going to talk about positivity? Sit back, relax. I'll explain everything. We were both in relationships with other people before we met. For me, I had been on and off with my ex for years. We met in high school. We dated for about 3 years before we broke up. We were both young. I had left for college, and our lives just ended up going in separate directions. I dated and hooked up with other people here and there, but after about another 3 years, we ended up reconnecting, and eventually we got back together. Things was good for a while, but then the relationship started to shift. To me, it seemed like everything I did was never enough. Now, in the words of Jamie Foxx, I'm not saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. But for real, it was just like the more I tried to show her I was riding for her and wanted to be with her, it just seemed like enough was just never enough. It got to the point where she started going out and spending time with this one friend of hers that she met at work. I would spend a lot of time with my cousins on the weekends, going out, drinking, chilling. This was back in the days when I used to smoke. Don't do that, neither of those no more. But eventually, I later found out that that friend of hers had introduced her to some other girl. Now, long story short, while we were supposed to be together trying to work on things, she was out doing her. Now, that threw me for a loop because I was here trying to be with somebody, changing my ways to be the person that they wanted me to be. And she was out doing her thing, leaving me sitting there trying to figure out if our relationship was even worth holding on to. At first, I can't even lie, I was heartbroken. Now, I'm the type of person, y'all know, that when I love hard. I give myself to the person I'm with and expect that person to reciprocate that love. I went through the motions and cried and asked myself why things didn't work out. Eventually, I had to check myself and ask myself, what are you crying for? I wasn't the one that was doing wrong. Why was I constantly trying to change myself in the way that I did things to accommodate someone who didn't appreciate who I was and what I did and what I brought to the table? Now, y'all know red flags show up. And I will admit now, looking back at it, there were red flags that I ignored because, we human. We want things to work out. And I guess in the back of my mind, I just didn't want to go back to being single, going through the whole dating thing all over again, having to get to know somebody and putting yourself out there. But I adjusted and embraced the fact that things just wasn't going to work. And I took on being single. I was single for a while. And honestly, I had learned to enjoy being single and the freedom that comes with being single. I was learning to love myself for who I was and just for being me. And for the first time in my life, I realized that I had started falling in love with me. Now, we're going to fast forward a little bit. There was a friend of mine who kept telling me, you should get back out there. Like, try to find somebody. Don't just settle with being single. And when I say I fought this boy tooth and nail because it just wasn't something that was on my mind. I wanted to keep enjoying me and keep doing what I was doing for myself and not worry about being in a relationship with somebody. Because when you're in a relationship with somebody, it's just not your feelings and your time that you have to worry about. You have to worry about someone else as well. But eventually he told me to get back out there and that I deserve somebody and to put myself back out there to find love. Now, I wasn't afraid to put myself back out there, but I didn't want to risk my mindset that I had gotten into to regress. I just wanted to enjoy my life and keep putting myself first. But eventually, I figured just to shut him up, I let him set me up a profile on a dating app. I would name that app, but I'm not getting a check for advertising. So we're going to leave it at that. I figured I'd go on a couple dates, and when they didn't work out, I go back to living my life just as I was. The first girl I went out with was cool, but she was too much. When they say lesbians are known to move fast in relationships, she was the prime example of that. This girl, I don't know how she knew what car was mine, left flowers and teddy bears and notes. We only went out on one date. One date. And before the date was over, I came out, there was a thing of flowers, a teddy bear, and a card telling me how much of a good time she had. That was it. I was like, all right, cool. Too much. Too fast. I mean, the gesture was nice and all, but that's just not something I was looking for. Then one day I went back on the app and I came across this picture of the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. It was like a black and white picture. She had on glasses and a necklace with a cross on it, and her hair was pulled back, and she had this big puff. And I looked at the picture for a while, and I was contemplating, should you send her a message? I clicked on the profile and I read the about me section, and I looked through her pictures, and not to sound cliche, but the pictures made me feel more attracted to her, and they kind of told a story like I could kind of see the type of person she was. And off the bat, I was completely infatuated. And honestly, I got nervous. Like we was standing there face to face, but that first picture, her eyes, for some reason, it just felt like her eyes could see me. Like she saw me for who I am. Now, like I said, I was a shy person. It took me a while to build up the courage to send her a message. But I was like, what do I have to lose? She'll either respond or she won't. Now, Shamira's past relationship was different from mine. That's her story to tell. If she's ready to tell it, I'll have her come on here and let y'all know. I'm not going to tell her story for her. But I did end up sending her a message saying something along the lines of like, "Hey, I don't usually do this and I don't want to sound too forward, but I came across your profile and thought you were beautiful. And I was hoping for the chance to get to know you better. If you would like, I look forward to hearing back from you. I just couldn't let the moment pass without at least trying." And y'all, when I say this girl had me waiting, she had me waiting. I remember asking her what was her first reaction or thought when she read my message. She told me that she didn't know if she wanted to respond. She had dated studs before, which that's my demeanor, studdish. And she said that she wasn't really looking to date another stud because of how her past experiences with studs had gone. And I told her I'm different. And I know a lot of females or even men hear that I'm different line. And all I could do was hope that she would give me the chance to show her that I was different. We ended up, texting back and forth. And then one day we ended up exchanging numbers, going on each other's Facebooks and stuff. And she said she couldn't figure me out at first because there were moments in my past where I went from being feminine to back to masculine and back and forth, trying to find my comfort zone and the way I present myself. But we would video chat every day, be on the phone all the time, and it just felt like we had connected on a level just from speaking and video chatting and not being in each other's presence more than I had in my past relationship. Now, we had to, you know, deal with video chatting and the phones and stuff because she did live an hour and a half away from where I was. And of course, we both working and she has a daughter. And, we would eventually make time to see each other on the weekends. Now, getting her to come see me for the first time, it was like pulling teeth. This girl, when I say she is shy, she is shy. But once you get to know her, she opens up And she's the most goofy, funny, loving, caring person I've ever met. Now, what does this have to do with positivity? It just goes to show that when you are looking for someone to match your vibes and match your energy, you don't have to change who you are in order to do that. Here I was in my past trying to be more of what somebody else wanted me to be than just being myself and that being enough. Now, for those of you who are out there who are searching for love, haven't found love yet, or if you're in a relationship with somebody and you feel like you're constantly doing and giving, or having to change what you would normally do in your own mindset to accommodate that other person, stop. If it's meant to be, who you are and how you are is enough. You don't have to be somebody else in order to make somebody else happy. Because let me tell you, if you do that, you're going to be one miserable person. It took me years to realize that my past relationship just wasn't going to work out from jump because this person wanted the idea of someone else and tried to make me into that someone else. Where Shamira, she saw me just like I felt like she saw me when I looked at that first picture. She saw who I was and loved me from jump. Never asked me to change anything. Just be who I was, and it was enough. So, if I had to give an affirmation for this week, I am enough. Repeat after me. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I have to say, man, I really, really, really missed coming on here and vibing with y'all, sharing my stories and stuff. I'm so happy to get back on the ride and do what has to be done to keep this podcast going. I thank everybody for their support, and I thank everybody for just being there, giving me that push to keep going, because my podcast is making a difference for them. So, y'all know the drill. If somebody or something negative shows up and tries to bring your good mood down, just let that good aura of positivity that you have around you shine bright, and hopefully, just maybe, you'll be able to change their mood for the day. If they are like that, send them over here. Have them listen to the podcast. Maybe we can give them a change too. Y'all have a good one. Until next week, it's your girl Tay.